Well, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see familiar faces and new faces, so thank you for coming out and spending the evening with me today. Like what was mentioned, I did begin my campaign in May of 2020, not because necessarily I'm trying to become governor, that is the goal, right? But really it's about protecting our freedoms and the Constitution. That was most important to me. I'm no stranger to politics. I actually worked on and helped Ron Paul's campaign for president. But I've been following politics for 12 years. I have a lot of contacts inside many different industries, but most specifically Wall Street. And the best advice I got was to follow the money. If you follow the money, you really will get to the truth. But over those 12 years, I really saw the decay within our country. And it really was leading towards communism. We kind of guised it as socialism, but really there was an authoritarianism aspect coming to this country. I want to go through just 8 steps, and I want to see if this sounds familiar to everyone about how we move into communism. The first one is attack religion. So remove faith in God from the government and schools. Does that sound like something we've already done in this country? Yes, okay. Next is welfare. Take control of every aspect of citizens' lives. If you get the population dependent on the state, then they really truly are always at the beckon of the state. Remember when we got shut down in 2020? How quickly everyone had their hands out to the government for checks and money. For some reason, Americans, not so many, have actual savings accounts that we can be self-sufficient. Is it there? Is it better? Okay. Class warfare. We've seen since last year, it's been happening for a long time, but the division between all of us, right? They're dividing us on every single angle. From wealthy against poor, to the race that you are, to gender, all these different things. We're more divided. Now, our country says united, right? That's how we stand as United States of America, not divided. Gun control. There's always been a grab for our guns. Why does a government, an evil, corrupt government, always want to go for your ability to defend yourself? Well, if you look in history, and I love history, countries that do that, they usually do terrible things to their citizens once they disarm them. Our founding fathers were so wise, they truly were, and how they set up the Constitution, but most importantly, was the Second Amendment. The first thing that though has been attacked, freedom of speech. How many conservatives in the room really feel like they didn't have a voice, right, for so long? You always had to sit down, shut up. The left was always telling you how it was going to be, and we kept giving ground. See, it was just little by little that we kept giving away, until now we find ourselves here, with our backs up against the wall. We need to come out so aggressively, fighting for our freedom, and take all that ground back and more if we want to have a chance to save our republic. That's why I got involved. I've been campaigning, technically, like I said, about for 14 months, but actually I don't look at it that way. I've been fighting for all of you, whether you know it or not. I was fighting for your freedoms. I was fighting against the lockdowns, unconstitutional lockdowns, 4 executive back-to-back orders that our GOP assemblies had allowed 20 years to get away with. Okay? They got away with it. The next thing was the mask mandate. I don't care if you wear a mask. I really don't. I don't care if you get the shot. But it should be your choice. This forcing of the mask to enter stores, and then also on your kids in the schools, is not normal. I'm here to tell you, this is not normal. We need oxygen. We have an immune system. We are intelligently created and designed. The fake media would believe that that's not the case. That we all need a shot now every 6 months to have an immune system. This is false. So when we lost the battle technically with the mask mandates, I said, you know what? This is bad because what they're going to do is once they get that experimental shot in, they're going to tie it to your employment. A lot of people are like, no, Jonathan, that's crazy. No way. It's already been done. Our healthcare workers. So what I do, I entered into the fight with our healthcare workers. All right? And I went to defend them. Excuse me? Correct. Yep. And now the city of Milwaukee employees. Right. It's going all the way from state government down. Now, I believe, sadly, what went down in 2020 with President Trump is that the federal government at the very top level has been compromised through and through. All right, through money, massive amount of money. China owns $1 trillion-ish of our debt, right? And the Federal Reserve. Anyone know what the Federal Reserve is? By show of hands, does anyone know what this is? Oh, this is good. This is good. I've asked this question before, and some people don't raise their hands. The Federal Reserve is a key component into the modern day slavery that we're in, and it's all done through debt. And that leads me to the next point. Debt. Increase the national debt to unsustainable levels. Astronomical. The national debt's at $28 trillion, but the unfunded liabilities is $200 trillion. That's a big number. What does that even mean? We don't know what that means, right? But it's huge and it's important. It's unfunded. The number is so huge. Why did this happen? Because we left an honest monetary system that our founding fathers set up for us, which was based on gold and silver. Why did they want that to happen? because it attached things back to reality and it limited the size that government could get. The government actually had to run a balanced budget. Inflow, outflow, right? So if they needed more money coming in, they'd have to raise taxes. Well, at some point, that tax burden was getting too great for you guys, and you're like, whoa, 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 you're taxing me way too much. We're done, that's it. And that was the largest size that government could become. But with the Federal Reserve System moving on to a debt-based monetary system, they could print money out of thin air. So they didn't have to tax you, they could just create more of the currency that you had. The problem was, though, you save in US dollars. You invest in that, you own homes in that, right? When more currency comes out in the marketplace, it devalues your purchasing power. That's why when you go back into the 90s or whatever, $20 got you a decent amount of groceries in your cart, right? How much does $20 get you in food nowadays? Nothing. Exactly. And price keeps going up. What really concerned me, though, was the lockdown and how long they held us in that state, right? I knew after about 3 to 4 weeks, if we did not immediately get out of it, we were going to do massive damage to the supply chain. I have been proven right. The supply chain is still not fully up to speed yet. So this tactic of medical martial law, this is exactly what we're under, by the way. Understand that. Medical martial law. If you do not comply, have you heard this on the news lately? They always sneak it in. Comply. Comply with the shot. Just comply, right? That's what they want. They want your compliance. I'm not going to give it to them because I know better. This is a trick, a fraud, like you've never seen before. In my opinion, it's actually larger than 9/11. I know we're coming up on the anniversary of 9/11. It's bigger than 9/11, okay? It's a serious situation because we have Anthony Fauci, who's masquerading as some omnipresent God doctor that's going to tell you what to do. He needs to be arrested. He does. The gain of function that they were doing in the Wuhan lab that was funneling money, though, from his organization as well, was trying to make this virus more aggressive than what it should have been. And it seems like we've forgotten what immunity really is, how that actually works. Okay? You get exposed to something, if you're healthy, you build antibodies, you have immunity. It's natural, full-spectrum immunity. When you become dependent on something, you narrow-band that. Not too long ago, I remember reading many articles about antibiotics. They were concerned that humans were taking too many antibiotics. Do you guys remember this? Okay. They were concerned about a superbug. And we don't have a powerful enough antibiotic.